All right, good afternoon. Sorry for the delay in getting started. The court will take up the next case, which is cause number C200153CPS. This is in the interest of the Martinez children. The hearing today is being conducted pursuant to emergency orders of the Texas Supreme Court via Zoom video conference. Participating in the hearing today on behalf of the department is caseworker Yesenia Ramirez and Regional Attorney Jason Jett. The mother of the child, I believe, is Glenda Areola, and I believe Ms. Areola is participating in our hearing today. The father of the child is Jesus Martinez, and he is also participating in the hearing today. The attorney ad litem for the child is children is Emily Martinez, and Ms. Martinez is participating in the hearing today. Participating in the hearing today as the CASA guardian ad litem representatives are Susan Beatty and Cassie Roberts, and they have also filed a report with the court. There's some other individuals on my screen I need to acknowledge their participation in the case. I see a lady participating by iPhone. Ma'am, could you identify yourself for the court, please? Ma'am, if you're participating in the hearing on an iPhone, could you identify yourself, please? Let's see, Ms. Ramirez, do you know who that is? Is that Melinda Areola?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you might want to text her and let her know. She may need to hit join audio. I think her video is connected, but her audio is not. So if you have a number for her, I'll try to send her a chat, but sometimes that doesn't go through.
Okay.
While she's doing that, as I noted, we're set for an initial permanency hearing today. I'm going to ask Ms. Roberts, Ms. Beatty, Ms. Ramirez, Mr. Martinez, and Mr. Areola, if each of you could raise your right hands, please. Each of you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give today before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Okay. All right, Mr. Martinez, did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard you. Yes, sir.
Okay, I need you to raise your right hand because you didn't do it when I asked you. So you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give today before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir. Be nothing but the truth and only the truth. So help me God.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And note Mr. Areola, Glenda Areola, and let's see, Melinda Areola is dropped off for now. I'll let her back in if she comes back into the hearing at a later date. Okay, thank you. All right, we're ready to proceed, Mr. Jett.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call Ms. Yesenia Ramirez, please.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Please state your name for the record.
Yesenia Ramirez.
Ms. Ramirez, how are you employed?
I am the CVS caseworker for the family.
Okay. And can you tell us about the mother's compliance with the service plan?
Miss Ariela's service plan consists of visitation with her children, which she has been doing well in them. There are no concerns with her visits. She has attended all of them. She is to complete counseling, which she has not. Since then, she was working with one counselor at the beginning, but later was referred to another counselor. She had a counseling appointment scheduled for June, but she wasn't able to make it. I'm not sure if there's another counseling appointment scheduled for that. She is to complete domestic violence classes at the family shelter. As of today, I'm not aware of her starting those classes. The same goes for her parenting classes with the family shelter. I'm not aware of her starting them as of today. She's to drug test for the department, which she has been compliant with that. She's tested positive on all of her drug tests, with the exception of the one for last month in June, which she tested negative. She was scheduled for another UA this month, but she hasn't gone in to do one for this month. She is to have a safe and appropriate housing for her children.
Sorry, Ms. Ramirez, go ahead.
She is to have safe and appropriate housing for her children, which she does. And I believe the last service plan, the last couple ones are to have employment, which she is working on. She has informed me of different interviews that she's had through the Workforce Center, but hasn't had any luck. I believe she had another job interview today before the court hearing. I'm not sure how that went. And then she's to provide a safety plan to the department in the event that she is in a relationship where there's domestic violence. I gave her that about, I want to say last month, and I have yet to receive it. And I believe those are all of her services.
All right. What are the barriers to reunification at this time?
The barriers to reunification would be her continuing to test positive. Well, she tested negative last month, so she would need to continue to test negative for about 6 months for the department to be able to properly assess her sobriety. She would need to have employment to demonstrate that she is able to provide for her children's needs. She would need to show the department that she is aware of signs and red flags of domestic violence, and she would know what to do in the event that she finds herself in a relationship.
All right. Concerning the father, what about his compliance with the service plan?
His service plan also includes visitation with his children. At the beginning, he had missed some visits, but since starting them back up in May, I believe, he has been attending all his visits timely. He is doing better with that. There are no concerns, no major concerns with his visits as far as him being inappropriate with the children. There were concerns with him making promises to the girls, which has been addressed with him. He is to attend, or he is to complete BIPA's Batter Intervention Prevention Program, which is an online course. To my knowledge, he has not started that yet. He is working on parenting classes. He has informed me that he has done 6 out of 12 of them. So he's doing those. He's to obtain and maintain legal employment, which he has. He has shown me his time card showing what hours he's worked. He is to complete an ADAC assessment, which he has not done so. He is to do a psychological assessment, which I have sent that off. So I believe we're just waiting for the liaison between the psychological agency and the department to get back to schedule a visit with him. He's to test negative on his UAs. He has not been able to test for us since being the CVS caseworker for him. I was able to get an oral swab done for him, which came back positive. So he would need to do the ADAC assessment to see if there's any services that could be provided to him and continue to test negative.
When was that test, please? That oral swab?
That test was, I believe, in May. I'd have to look at the my court report for an exact date.
That's May is sufficient for my purposes to right now. Thank you. What are the barriers to his reunification?
At this time, Mr. Martinez does not have a home. He has not been able to provide me with an address of where he is staying, just because it is not his permanent housing. He would need to test negative on his UAs, demonstrate that he can be a safe and appropriate parent to his children. He did complete anger management, which was not on this service plan. It was on the previous service plan that he had when the case was FBSS. So he's completed that. He would then need to demonstrate that he is able to recognize when he's angry and have sufficient coping skills and know how to de-escalate himself so he's not having an angry outburst.
All right. Where are these children placed currently?
They're placed with Melinda and Louis Areola. They are maternal grandparents.
Okay, and how are things going for them there? They're
doing good. They are currently working on getting their license to foster and adopt through New Horizons. They've completed a 2-day training this past weekend. So they're starting to work on that.
All right. And children's medical and dental up to date?
Yes.
Okay. Children taking any medications?
No.
Right. And anything else you'd like to add about these children or about this family?
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Your Honor, I'd like to pass the witness.
Mr. Martinez, did you have any questions for Mr. Ramirez?
Just a couple, Your Honor. Mr. Ramirez, as it relates to Mr. Martinez, you said he's done 6 out of 10 parenting classes. Is that correct?
6 out of 12, yes. I know for sure he's done 3. He informed me he did an additional 3. Since the last time I spoke with him, I would just need to follow up with the agency to verify that.
Okay. So are you getting, how do you get documentation of that? Just attendance slips or something like that?
Yes, I'll call them and ask them about attendance. And then I've had a couple conversations with him about what some of those classes consist of.
Okay. And then what was the positive oral swab back in May? What was the substance of that?
For Mr. Martinez, I believe was marijuana and benzos. I would have to look at the court report.
Okay. I pass the witness.
Mr. Judd, did you have any other witnesses you want to call at this point?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I'll start with Mrs. Galinda Ariella. Miss Ariella, if you could unmute your device, do you have any questions for Ms. Martinez, Ms. Ramirez relating to her testimony, or anything you'd like to relate to the court about your position in the case today?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Martinez, did you have any questions for Ms. Ramirez or anything you'd like to relate to the court about the case today?
Yeah, on those parenting classes, I was supposed to take, I was notified I was supposed to only do 8, not 12. But if I have to do 12, I'll do 12. But I was really sure that I was only supposed to do 8 of those classes. I wasn't know that I was supposed to do 12 of them.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to relate to the court today, Mr. Martinez?
And the reason why I can't do the ADAP assessment because I only get a 30-minute lunch, and those assessments are like an hour long to see what you need help with. So I really can't do those ADACs, and I let her know why and for what reason. But I guess she didn't want to let y'all know what was the reason for why I can't do them. But that's pretty much it. That's all I got to say. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. All right. Let's see, Ms. Martinez, did you have anything else or other witness you want to call?
I do not.
No.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Beatty and Ms. Roberts, anything y'all would like to add to your report in this case?
Judge, I was just going to ask for a little bit more clarification on visitation, what's court ordered and what is, I don't know all the rules, but what is court ordered and what is allowed. From my perspective, it seems that as the parents are not fully working the case, they seem to have a lot of visitation in this case.
Well, The way that works, Ms. Beatty, is the department is to develop a visitation plan for each of the parents. Those are filed with the court. So those are really the department's agreement with the parents as to what kind of visitation or contact the parents will have with them. If there's a objection to the visitation or a request to increase or decrease it, then a hearing gets set. We have evidence presented, and then the court can modify or change that if the department's not willing to vary from that current visitation plan. So whatever is the set forth in their visitation plan is what their current visitation is at this time, and those can be modified during the course of the case. But that's the procedure if it was going to be a court-ordered change in visitation. We'd have to have a hearing set to address that first. So if we need to do that, y'all can visit with the department, and if the department's not willing to change the terms, change it to whatever you are recommending, you can either ask them or Ms. Martinez to file a request to the court for hearing, and we can set a hearing on that and address it at that time.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Jett, did you have anything else for today's hearing?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. Miss Ariella and Mr. Martinez, I'm required to notify any parent in this type of case that because of the nature of these proceedings, your parental custodial rights and duties to your children may be subject to restriction or even termination, and your progress on any court orders or plans of service or will be reviewed at future hearings in the case, including the trial of the case. The next hearing in this case right now is set for September 7th, 2021 at 10:30. That's a permanency hearing and pretrial. The trial is set for November 3rd, 2021 at 9 a.m. As I've previously advised both of you in the past, you have a right in any litigation to retain a lawyer to represent you if you feel the need for legal advice. If you are opposed to what the department's wanting to do in the case and cannot afford a lawyer, you can make a request for a court-appointed lawyer by filing an affidavit of indigence with the Tom Green County District Clerk. If the court determines that you do not have sufficient assets or income to hire a lawyer on your own, you can, the court will appoint a lawyer for you at that time. The forms for that can be obtained from the Tom Green County District Clerk. At this hearing, which is the initial permanency hearing, the department is supposed to set forth to the court and to the parties its permanency plan. My understanding of their permanency plan at this point is to request at the time of trial that the court enter an order terminating your parental rights to the children for purposes of allowing the children to be adopted. A permanency plan is simply a statement of their current intent based on the facts that exist today. Those plans can change during the course of the case. You still have the right to work on your service plans, and the court would encourage you to do so, and the department has an obligation to continue to work with you on those service plans. But that should alert you that that is what they may be asking for at the time of trial. So you certainly want to take that into consideration as you go forward in the case, and also as you factor in whether or not you want to try to retain a lawyer to represent you, or whether you want to make a request for a court-appointed lawyer. Mr. Martinez, as to your issue about the substance abuse assessment, I understand the difficulty of sometimes scheduling things with work and other issues, but you need to be aware that that substance abuse assessment, along with other matters, are court orders. The department's ordered to provide
I remember.
To you, and you're ordered to comply with those services. And one basis under which the department can seek, if it decides to do so, to restrict or even terminate your parental rights is due to a failure to comply with court orders or your service plan. So if you fail to get that substance abuse assessment, that can be one basis under which, should they wish to do so at the time of trial, seek to restrict or terminate your parental rights. So I encourage you to try to figure out a way to get that done, as well as comply with the other services on your service plan. And Ms. Ariella, I would ask you the same thing. Ms. Ramirez, on Miss Ariela's service plan, I wasn't clear on the parenting and domestic violence. Is that set up for her where she can go, or has she just not been going?
So I have sent in my referral, and the last thing that I heard from the family shelter was that they were trying to contact her, which I informed Miss Ariola. So I believe it was just Miss Ariola contacting them and obtaining more information. But she is able to go ahead and look into those services as my referral has been sent in.
Okay, so she can go, she can access the parenting classes and domestic violence at this point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. And Ms. Beatty and Ms. Roberts, I'd ask y'all to get with the department and Ms. Martinez, and if y'all have issues about the visitation you want to address with them, they can discuss that with you, and of course with the parents as well. And if there's a need for a hearing, they can make a request for one before we have the next scheduled one, or we can maybe take it up at the next turn. All right, thank you.